Greetings to all. I'm Dave Kassler, amateur radio call sign KE0OG, and welcome to our Saturday live stream on this 11th of July in 2020. I have very good news to report in that the extra manual finally arrived on Thursday. I've already been working with my assistant on that, and we should be starting to put up the new extra videos as soon as I can. For the period of time that it takes to get the extra videos up, my ordinary Ask Dave videos will most likely be set mostly aside. So be sure to watch the extra videos and give them your like and support and everything so that I can keep the channel stats up so that Google will continue to recommend it. Also, by the way of flying news, I did pass my sport pilot written exam on Thursday with a score of 90%. So now I can concentrate on the flying part of it. I was thinking about going to a flying school and just finishing the thing, but I won't do that till I get all of the extra videos up first. I owe those first. So that'll take a while. I'm going to try and do one a day of those, so it'll take about a month, and we'll get them up just as quickly as we can. The book is a little different. The chapters are outlined a little differently, so we're going to do basically a line-by-line comparison of the old book with the new, compare the questions and so on, and make sure that the new videos cover everything. So I'm still looking at suggestions for a shirt color here. I've been using the orange shirt and the blue shirt, so I need another color shirt now. I've got one that's gray, which is kind of boring, and we'll have to see what other shirt. I saw a yellow shirt yesterday down at JCPenney's. We were down there to look at shoes, and so maybe we can do a yellow shirt. Don't know. If you've got shirt suggestions, let me know. Okay, so we've got people here from Europe. Marcus just joined us from Germany. We've got Denmark and the UK. Okay, so the extra videos are going to be starting to come out now. And then as soon as I have them all done, I will make the extra video sticks, the little memory sticks, available again at the same price, $49.99, which includes shipping anywhere in the U.S. And a lot of places in Europe I can ship for that same price too. Okay. Yeah, Hawaiian. People saying Hawaiian. Here's tartan. Red. How about red? 3 for red. I do have a red one of these polo shirts with the OG logo on it. Maybe I could use that. Greetings from Greeley, Colorado, on the other side of the Rockies from me. Very good. So, I've got some interesting questions here that we can go through, and we'll see what we've got. The weather here is rather warm today. It is 1 o'clock p.m. and it's already 91 degrees outside, and we're at 7,000 feet. That is extraordinarily warm for here. It's rare that we go over 90, but this has been a weird year. So we'll see what happens. Is the manual green? Do a green shirt. Okay. I don't think I have a green polo shirt. I'd have to go buy a green shirt, but I can do that too. Yellow, electrifying, yes. Hope they're not referencing the Star Trek red shirts. Red with a blue logo on a white background. Yeah, okay. Hello, Mr. G. Good afternoon to you too. Hello, Alexei, who is coming to us from the Ukraine. Doing fine here. Heat advisory here in Oklahoma. Oh, man. It's been warm. Just plain warm. At least the humidity is not high here. The humidity right now at our place is a whopping 9%. That's 9%, as in 1 degree or 1 unit less than 10%. It is dry. which means that the entire state of Colorado is under forest fire alert. And it's just dry. The wind is only 3 miles an hour, but we have had some pretty serious winds in the back. Okay, watch the Kleenex dancing in the back. That is dancing because of the air conditioner up here. I had a split unit air conditioner put into the room because this room runs very hot with the computer equipment and all that. You know, a 600 watt power supply in a computer means that the computer is in essence a 600 watt heater on all the time. So not quite that bad, but pretty bad. 86 in Alberta, which is unusual for that far north, but I guess it gets there. Can see the fan blowing the tissue box around. If it bothers people too much, I can move it. I've got the overhead fan on as well as the air conditioner. Hello, 86 with almost the same dew point in New Hampshire. Oh, that must be miserable. That means about 100% humidity there. The tick fever state will be 100 plus. Wow. 106 heat index in Arkansas. Hot day, hot day. A nice day to get into a cool room and turn on the radio and let the radio do the work. By the way, I've got the G90 radio, and yesterday I did a short video on winding two wires so that they stay wound together. And then I went and put on the power pole connector, and I connected up the radio to the antenna and just set it down here. I've had 2 QSOs so far. One was out in California, and the antenna I'm using is, because it's the one that's still up, is the 80 through 10 end-fed half-wave. So that's the radio I'm using. I really should put up my reference antenna instead, but I'm hooked up to the one I did the last review on. So there, that tissue box can sit over here, I think. Okay. All right. The first message is from Ishmael Samuel J72IMS. He says he's getting an ICOM 9100 HF VHF UHF radio. He's very excited, and he shows a picture of it here. So he'll be doing that radio. He's very excited. That's a very nice radio. Hello, Bob. Thank you very much for the first super chat of the day. Appreciate it very much. Let's see. Joseph had to get a window AC to help with the poor central air. Far West Missouri. Yes, good excuse not to do anything outside. If you do go outside, please stay hydrated. Stay very thoroughly hydrated. Drink more water than you think you do. If you're not going to the bathroom very often, you're not drinking enough water. You need to drink plenty of water. Keep hydrated. Okay, and William says he's making many FT8 contacts. Very good. Bob, again, thank you. Good day also to keep the vacuum tube linear turned off. Yes, absolutely. Dipole antenna has helped me craft my first dipole, 20 meters, has 1.2 to 1 SWR, and spoke to a guy in New Zealand. Very good. Yeah, the heat pumps really are more efficient than classic air conditioning. Okay, the next question is from, let's see, Rodney. And that's the only ID I have on here. He says he recently purchased an alpha base loop, 40 through 10, about 8 feet off the ground, which is a little low. I'm able to get SWRs down fairly low, but it seems to work a lot of, it's NAVIS, and I'm not quite sure what that means. Stations from Long Island, New York, usually gets signal reports 5.5 to 5.7. And if I work New Hampshire station on 40 meters, can get a 5.9. Yeah, you're doing NVIS, you're broadcasting up and then down. So there's might be a little bit of a skip zone in between, but you'll work them out to about 300 miles or so. Now, here's something that's a little interesting. He says, I have an air core balun at the antenna and at the entrance window feed through before the coax goes to the transceiver. Here are my two questions. Do you think I need to raise the antenna? Yes, you're going to need to raise it above 8 feet. What height would you recommend? Well, the classic height for an antenna is a half wave, which is different on each band, of course. For 40 meters, that's 66 feet. That's usually unattainable by most hams. 20 meters is 33 feet, which is more attainable. You can go all the way up to 6 meters, which is only 10 feet. But yes, you probably will need to raise it. The correct answer to your question is as high as you can get it. Now, you've got two baluns in the system. I'm not exactly sure what baluns these are. If they're 1-to-1, they won't matter. But if they're 4-to-1 baluns or something like that, the balun could be causing quite a problem with the SWR. Loop is about 15 feet away from the house to where the coax enter the windows feed through. If you've got a balun at the antenna, normally you'd feed an antenna like that with window line or letter line. I think that would help. But you're making contacts, which is great. Try it on the higher bands, like 20. Try 20. You'll get a little bit better on that, so on. Dipole, okay. Heat pump. Hello, everybody, North Carolina there. This is from Reece Simmons. He says, I enjoy your videos and your personality. I am 15 years old and I'm a general class ham. Well, Reece, congratulations to you. And I hope that you're really enjoying ham radio. I was wondering about awards such as Worked All States. Can you use contest QSOs for credit? Yes, but you need to get either a logbook of the world or a paper QSL back in order to use the contact. And yes, a contact QSO counts for credit. Can you use both logbook of the world and paper QSL cards for credit? Yes. It is easier logistically to do them all logbook of the world. But if you've got a combination of logbook of the world and paper, you can do Worked All States. You can look on the ARRL webpage for the procedural details for that. But if you've got all those for Worked All States, congratulations to you very much. He's KI5CXO. Okay. This is from Greg, NJ7LIL. I have an 80-meter dipole at 25 feet with 450 ohm ladder line for a feed line to an IDG AT200 Pro tuner. Yeah, that should work across the whole band, actually. You can use that same antenna on other bands, too. Because you've got a wide-range tuner there, the LDG tuner. Mentioned to keep the balun outside and run coax into the shack. My feed line runs straight down and into the shack through its own entrance point. How will having the balance line only 30 feet affect my SWR? Don't worry about feed line length. Okay. Yes, there are some wire lengths that can sort of raise issues. A quarter wavelength is the one. And 30 feet, you're about there on 20 meters. But this is an old story of mine. When I was a brand new ham, I read too that there were certain feed line lengths to avoid, and the books said the answer to how many feet the feed line needs to be is enough to reach from the radio to the antenna. And I thought they were joking, and it is a bit of a joke, but it's true true. Use as much feed line as you need to, and that's what you need. Now, you can run with that wide range tuner and the feed line, you can run that antenna on any band. So the answer to the question is how long your feed line should be is truly long enough to reach from the radio to the antenna, and then use your tuner. If the feed line is matched, it does not matter the length, period. Even if it's a quarter wavelength or so on, because you're running 50 ohms all the way through. Now, the fact that you're using balanced line means you're probably running 450 ohm line. So there'll be an unbalanced condition in there, but I wouldn't worry about it. I think you're going to be fine just running it the way you are. Sorry, got a frog in my throat. Frog came inside because there's no water outside. This is from Alice Ramirez KI5ERV. Can you explain what a mesh network is and how it is used? Let's look at the overhead for mesh network. Whoops, that's not the overhead. Okay, let's turn back to the regular view. So, oh crap. Okay, apologies on the sound, but you get the idea of the network. It's a mesh of all this. I'm sorry, I really should run this with a second person. Okay, you get the idea of the mesh network there. Okay, and it was an awesome explanation. Yeah, okay. You need some sort of monitor system from the audio. Yeah, I had a lot of trouble getting this particular camera to work yesterday or today, so I didn't realize it had worked the audio too. And my assistant doesn't work on Saturdays, so otherwise I'd have her in here running the OBS software. Okay, yeah, there is a clock. There is a clock. Okay. Clear your throat so we know it's you. I'm sorry, I've had a frog in my throat today. Yeah, all right. How many extra class hams does it take to switch a microphone? I get a blue light when the it's a Logitech HD webcam, and I'm using it with a toner mic. It's a Chinese mic I once reviewed, and it's up all the way. Okay. Sorry about that. Can you explain what a mesh network is and how it is used? It's used, the deal is this. The older routers, some of the older routers, you can get ham radio software for them. Instead of the firmware that's in them, you update them with ham radio firmware. And then you put up outdoors, or just put the box outdoors in a weather-protected area and run the 24 volts to it and run the TCP/IP up there. And you can connect these using TCP/IP, but it's on ham radio frequencies. The 5 gigahertz the 5 gigahertz routers that have the Wi-Fi, the 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi, happens to overlap ham radio frequency bands. So you can use those ham radio frequency bands. And you're not limited to milliwatts on that, by the way, if you want to pump it up a little bit. But you are using something very close to 5 gigahertz, so it's a little bit hard. Anyway, they connect with each other just like internet would connect with each other. And these can go for a very long way. There's been a lot of talk about it recently, and it's done. Dub in the audio. Yeah, well, I don't know. Hello from South Africa, Ben. ZS6GEU. Boy, we're worldwide today. Both hemispheres. Some of the Linux freeware for mesh networks is called Batman. Yeah. This one is from Todd Holman W2NDA. My question is about ground radials for vertical. Do they have to fan out in a 360-degree pattern? Ideally. But in practice, sometimes that's impossible. For example, my vertical antenna out there, the radials go 360 degrees around, but there's some of them that would extend across the property line into the state wildlife area. And the game warden is very jealous of his territory. So I don't run them in there. I bring them out and then just move them out at an angle. Would like to place a vertical against the edge of my property. Would not be able to fan out 360 degrees, perhaps only 180 degrees. Is this the problem? It's not ideal, but it will work. and it will make the vertical a little bit directional in the direction of the radials. Okay, it will tend to work out over the radials a little bit better. It's not going to be terribly pronounced. You'll still be able to use it. Just put in the radials that you can, and you would be in good shape. I had well, it was in a previous home where I had the 14 AVQ, and my neighbor let me run a few discrete radials out over onto his property along a line of rocks, and that wouldn't show up. It was just kind of hidden in the landscaping there, so that worked out really well. Dwayne K4BBN, thank you very much for the super chat. I appreciate it. If you are interested in the super chat, down at the bottom where it says say something, where you would type in a comment, underneath that there is an emoji, and then next to that a rectangle with a $sign in it. That is the super chat button. Okay. Yes, less radio related, more electronics. You may or may not know, is there a good handheld device to simulate RF noise on an extended I2C connection? And James, I'm sorry, the answer to that is I don't know, but I suspect that there is. There's a company, I think it's in Oregon, it's T Equipment, all one word, starting with T and then the word equipment, all one word.com. I think it's out in Oregon. That's where I got my signal generator, and I think I got my Regal scope there too. They are a test equipment outfit. And if there is one of those things, they would know about it. So you can put it there. Hello from M0RAY in Kent, England. Welcome. Let's see, this next question comes from Dick Paige N0AJM. Okay. You pondered after answering my last question saying, I hope you have a large enough resistor for the broadband butterfly terminated dipole. The answer is 1,000 ohms. Okay, by large, what I meant was large in terms of its ability to dissipate heat. Max input I have available is 100 watts wires. You're going to be looking for 50 watt. I think half of the power goes into that. Then that's how you get your directionality. The resistor cancels the signal in the other direction. Wire is fed via a Palomar 16:1 balun, so that'd be 800 ohms. Using a different antenna that I haven't heard you speak of for stealth. Once I'm on the air, it will let you know how it works. Okay, very good. Well, Dick, I'll be looking forward to that report. This is from Denton Larson WB0ZUR. Says, I am new here, but have been a ham since 1977. Have you heard about KM4ACK? He has a Raspberry Pi, and he has written together a ham Pi too. I'll have to look that up, so I'm going to fold your question up here so that I remember to go back into the collection and pull that up and check it. This is from an old message from June from Ishmael Samuel J72IMS. He says he's shipping a box, and it's just got a picture of a box. Okay. Ishmael is slowly getting set up for HF. This next one is from Kyle. I have been watching your videos and trying to learn about ham radio. I see there are a multitude of options for antennas. Oh, that's nice. Okay. Okay, let's see. Show how to program an HT, especially the Baofeng, but nobody explains how to actually use one or how to grab a signal and actually uses the radio. I'll have to do another video on VHF QSOs with a HT because that's a really fundamental skill, and that's a good thing to do a video about. I appreciate that. It says KM4ACKs is upgradable without losing your data. All programmed, all charge, have license. Now how do I use it? Yes. How to use a Baofeng. Okay, sure. Basically, you push the button to talk and you let the button up to receive. Not much more to operating than that, but assuming you're on the right frequencies and everything. Purchased a micro BITX version 6 and watched your excellent video. Have you used yours, and what are your thoughts? The power output on mine is variable between bands. I haven't actually had a QSO on it. Or maybe I had one. This little G90, I've had 2 QSOs on, 3, and I just got it a couple days ago. I am really impressed with it. I think the 20-watt radio is kind of a minimum for sideband. For CW, 5 watts will do fine. But let's see. Okay. Have you used it? Yeah. Paul, thank you very much for the super chat. Appreciate it very much. Paul B. Okay, this is from Kyle. Been watching your videos and trying to learn about a ham radio. Okay, I see there are a multitude of options for antennas. For example, dipoles can be center fed with coax directly. True. Other dipoles can be fed off center and even end fed. Yes. How do you know which matching system is needed for the particular setup you intend to build? If you're going to build your own dipole, build a classic dipole fed in the middle and just feed it with coax and you'll be fine. The other ones need matching balance in order to work properly. They can be homebrew, but don't do that for first antenna. Don't do that to yourself. Do something simple that you know will work. I've got a video on how to build your own 40-meter dipole just from wire from Home Depot, plus the coax, and then you'll be in good shape. And if worse comes to worse and you can't afford 50-ohm coax, go ahead and use the 75-ohm coax you can get at Home Depot, which is the CATV coax. Is it correct to say that a random wire antenna must not be a half wave? A random wire antenna should be at least a wavelength long on the frequency of use, preferably significantly longer, and they will be directional. Golly, this is asking for a whole video on antennas. Maybe I'll do one. Antenna videos are always very popular. Okay, here's from Harald Holt, Lima Alpha 8 Whiskey Juliet. I find your review of the AT878, he says 787, but I think he means 878. Do you have a similar review of any of the combined smartphones and UHF VHF radios? I do not. I have seen them advertised, but I've not ever seen one in person, and I don't have one. Can you get Ray Novak to send you an IC705 and do a side-side compare with the G90? Well, I'll have to talk to Ray and see if he'll do that for me. I want him to send me or loan me a 705 too. What do you recommend for my first base receiver? Go to the reference station. Go to dcasler.com, DCASLER/reference. And that lists all the stations in the reference collection, all the different reference things. The reference HF radio is an ICOM IC7300. Okay, and I have one. I went out and got one so that I could use that as the reference station. They're under $1,000, which is cheap for an HF radio. And then it's a fantastic radio. You'll love the radio. You'll fall in love with it. The reason I suggest that is that you won't outgrow the radio for a long time. And the reference antenna is the MFJ 2010, which is an off-center fed dipole for 40, 20, 10, and 6. The 10 and 6 you won't use much, but the 40 and 20 you will use a lot. And that antenna is less than $100. And of course you need the coax. There's all that stuff is there. And with that antenna, you won't need a tuner or anything. So go ahead and look at that. I'm noticing we're getting some weird distortions on the live signal, which actually lags about 20 to 30 seconds behind real time. So I can see myself from 20 seconds ago up over here. Okay, so that's the that one. Let's see. Oh, the 991 is a fine radio. The 991A is Yaesu's answer to the ICOM 7300. It does have a waterfall on it, a nice waterfall. It's a very fine radio. And it also has VHF and UHF. So I picked the ICOM 7300 for the reference station. So when somebody asks me what radio should I get, I say get the 7300, because when I do videos about VHF operating, I'll be using the 7300. Okay, the mighty UV5R, yeah. Every ham seems to have at least one, that's true. Hermes Light 2.0 QRP radio, good. Apache Labs radio, and but a full SDR like a flex radio. Okay, very good. Do you use dielectric grease for all your cable connections? No, I do not. UV5R, because it's nice if you blow it up and throw it away. Yeah, it is pretty cheap. You get what you pay for. Got the ARRL antenna book recently. Good. It's an excellent book. It's a reference book. But it does have a bunch of chapters explaining basics and so on. Using it, how to get the frequency connection, punch in the frequency directly on the UV5R. Optical Man Jeff, thank you very much for your super chat. I appreciate that. There is a scan function on all the radios. Hi from W3OJ. Hello, OJ. Press scan if you're looking for simplex QSOs. If you're looking for repeater QSOs, program in the repeaters and press scan while in memory mode. That's good advice. 991A is in the shop. The volume died. Sorry to hear that. We are working with a distortion, Dave. Oh, yeah. It was damaged in shipping. That's a pain. Send it back to the vendor. Nearest ham club. Yes, you can search. ARRL has a club finder for ARRL affiliated clubs, and many of them are. And if you go to find a club, I think is the term in there. And he's got good advice here. Be friendly. And I think you'll find some people who are eager to help you get on the air. And find out what the locally used frequencies are and start listening to their nets. Usually a club has a weekly or monthly net. Our club has a weekly Sunday evening net on 2 meters and another one on HF. Okay. Do you have a reference station for a V? There are several antennas. I'm going to have to list all the antennas that I've done recently. I'm using the NFED half wave as a V because that's the way they did their tests, and it worked really well. Calbo Daddy, thank you very much for the super chat. Very much appreciated. Thank you for all your videos. Have ICOM 706 Mark II-G. Nice, but my antenna gives you issues with noise. Can't seem to get far out, especially DX. Does it mean you need to get a linear? I'd go with a different antenna before getting the linear. See if you can try, if you've got a vertical, try a horizontal antenna. Just try making your own 40-meter dipole, which you can make for next to nothing, and try that out. Okay, the 450D, FT450D is definitely an entry-level radio. And you'll probably outgrow it. Some people don't. They love their 450Ds. It's a very different radio from the rest of the Yaesu line. It works very well. I've talked with a number of people who have them. They like them. I've never heard anybody say anything bad about their 450D. It is a lot less expensive than some of the other radios. What are your thoughts on the RF Finder HT? I don't know. 1984 version and a 2019 version of the antenna book. Yeah, the antennas haven't changed that much. Yeah, and the linear amp won't help with the noise and receiving. That's true. Sent it, but the radio's sealed in the box for 30 days. Oh, golly. That doesn't say anything good about Gigaparts. I'm sorry. I've never had any direct experience with Gigaparts. Show up at a club meet with a box of donuts and a coffee cube and everybody will love you. This is true. I'll take the glazed donuts myself. But they're about 250 calories each. Woo! Carter, pushing the orange VFO MR button switches between memory and VFO. Yes. VFO allows you to enter frequencies. Yes. Read the manual. There's a manual that does come with it. If you can't find the manual, go on to the Baofeng website. They'll have the manual there. Or, yeah, just go to the Baofeng website. Okay. Let's see. Radio rental. I've never heard of that. The ham videos, nice. Thank you. You just got your license. What do you do now? There's actually a ARRL podcast that's named something similar to What Do I Do Now? I have tried in my training videos to get people ready to actually get on the air. So that, because if you just memorize the test questions, you can go all the way to extra and then not have a clue on how to get out on the air. I know somebody who was at the club. He was in New York, Mormon Mission, I think, and he got interested in ham radio, and he went 0 to extra in one test sitting. In other words, he was a very good test taker. And he came to the club and says, what do I do now? And I said, call me. I'll walk you through it. Come down and see my station, and I'll walk you through it. He never did. And he ended up, I guess somebody else told him to get Elecraft radios and all this. Guy must have had a lot of money. He put together a top-of-the-line station, and 6 months later he sold it all. So, as you learn to pass the test, learn to ham radio while you're about it. And so that, when you get that license, you can be on the air that same day, or order your equipment and get on the air. I do not recommend purchasing equipment prior to getting your license or passing your test. Once you pass your test, you can go do it. I was really sad about that guy because he could have had so much fun on ham radio. But just because you get a box with a lot of buttons and knobs on it doesn't mean you know how to operate it. And that's why you need to practice. I would like to see people get their general, get on the air for about 2 years with lots of on-the-air experience, and then go for your extra, because that's when it will mean the most to you. And you'll be ready to jump on those extra privileges as soon as you do. But okay. SKCC Weekend Sprint going on, very good. I think also the IARU HF Championship is going on too, so you might find a lot of DX on the air in a contest type situation. And those QSOs count. If you can get, and usually the big overseas contesters will upload all their results to Logbook of the World right away. So you can get the confirmations that way. Let's see, maple bars. Yes, those are good too. When traveling, do you add a stroke/X for the zone you are in if different from one's home's QTH? Yes, you can. I recommend it. It's best practice, but you don't have to. But if I'm operating portable, I will usually say something along the lines of, this is KE0OG Portable 5, and to indicate that I'm outside my normal area. It used to be you had to do it, and your call sign number indicated your general location. It's not true anymore. Reference station, start out small, get up, yeah. A lot to be said for minimum time and grade, yeah. Let's see, it's better to upgrade. I went ahead and took my Tech in General a week ago. Crazy taking 2 tests. You did it. Wow. So hot glass pickers, get yourself, set yourself up according to the reference station and have some fun on the air. DX is tough today, very faint. Sorry to hear that. Ray Davidson sends £2 via the Super Chat. Thank you very much, Ray. Very much appreciated. K0KRO, I have a TS590SG and an Alpha Delta DX100, but can't get any DX though. Get it up higher in the air if you can. That's a horizontal antenna. So get it up as high as you can. Do an inverted V. Their antennas seem to work best as an inverted V. So give it a try. How do I get started into CW? I'm only a tech, but you have HF CW privileges. There are trainers, and somebody's going to have to tell me the name of the trainer. It's a little piece of software that you can get that will help you train. But I will tell you, once you get your speed up to about 5 words a minute, it's time to get on the air. And you can do that with a little QRP radio. 5 watts is plenty on CW. And you'll do fine there. So look around. If you're looking for I think the least expensive already built QRP radio is the Micro BITX. That'll work on voice and CW. It is a QRP radio, so you're going to have not very much luck on the voice. But although as a tech you can use it on 10 meters, but you can use the voice on 80, 40, 15, and 10. And you should be able to work lots of stations with that. Okay, now with your TS590SG, it's a fine radio. Just get that antenna up as high as you can and persevere. I have some videos, by the way, on CW that you can take a look at. Got some UV5R radios years before. Still got my license. Good. Good. I'm glad you did. Get a DX Commander ABV Classic. Callum tells me he's going to send me an antenna. I've yet to see it. So when I get it, I'll review it. Lots of people speak very highly of the DX Commanders. Tried that. It's G4FON. Do a search on Golf 4 Fox Oscar November. He's passed away, but the G4FON trainer is the best I've seen because it has a method for teaching Morse code. And it starts with 2 letters at a time and telling the difference between them till it gets you up to all the letters and characters. And then you can have it send you code either in QSO form or random code groups or whatever. And you can use it to simulate fading, you can simulate noise, and you can simulate interference on it. It's really good. Gigaparts 25, 34, and 50 carbon fiber masks are unique and very well worth the money. Okay, I've never tried one. Actual QSO in CW is the best way to improve. Yes, absolutely. 40 meters. There's a club called SKCC. So look up SKCC, and it will tell you what their website is. It's skcc.org. And it will tell you frequencies and so on where there is slow code. You'll find them around 7050 and around 7100 are the 2 places for slow code. Long Island CW Club offers numerous classes daily on Zoom. Those are very good if you want to try those. Let's see. Thank you for your videos. 0 to extra, eager to learn. Trying to do HF in a downstairs apartment, but limited to indoor antennas. Well, try everything. Mag loops, try stealth antenna outside, and so on. Long Island CW Club. Callum is way behind on orders due to the pandemic. Yes, I can understand that. And the G4FON method is the Koch method. Plenty of people... Yeah, yes, I know. There are a lot of people who pass the exam. They've met their goal, and they think that passing the exam is the end game. It's not. It's the beginning. It's like having a pilot's license. Having a pilot's license is a license to learn. It just gets you started. You're in the door. So I did pass my written on Thursday, so now I'm going to be concentrating on flight. I do have a problem. If anybody knows a good answer to this, I'd appreciate it. There is no sport aircraft out here on the Colorado Western Slope to rent for training, so I'm either going to have to buy one or borrow one or something for the training. I'm currently training in a Cessna 182, which is much heavier than a light sport aircraft, and I cannot solo in that. So I have to solo in a light sport aircraft. I need to find one. So if anybody knows of one for a good price, please help. skccgroup.org. Thank you. Yes, what kind of antenna is best for contacting silent keys? Well, you'll have to talk to your clergyman about that. About the noise blanker in the 7300, works great. I use now in the FTDX there's two noise blankers, the classic and then the NBW. The NBW is designed for the Chinese over-the-horizon radar and does a fabulous job of knocking it out. Straight Key Century Club, also North American QRPCW Club. And this is from HNHCGH. Thank you for your contribution to amateur radio. Thank you very much for helping fund this channel. And let's see, Ouija board, yes. Got digital with signal link USB on Zygu G90. Fortunately, I have that, but I'm going to have to order the cable for that. I should do that pretty quickly, I think. Okay. Yeah, different people are motivated by different things. What kind of ham radio is on the space station? They've tried a variety of things. I think the one that's there is actually made by an aerospace company now. It's 2 meters. It's 2 meters. Yeah, I don't think the space station uses a ground wave. Have you tried a walloper antenna? I've not heard of that before. Just make sure the antenna is properly earthed, which is hard to do on the space station. Okay, this next one is from Willlis KX4TD. You got me into this, so I'm offering to give something back. Particularly interested in Whisper. Purchased a Whisper desktop from Jack Tech, hooked it up to my G5RV, started testing 20-meter propagation. Here's a look at the results. The data shows propagation comparisons between day and night, G5RV and random length end-fed, and the magic of the gray line. Welcome to use any of the materials, and I welcome any feedback. Well, thank you. I will take a look at that, and I'm going to fold this one over so I remember to look at it. Oh, and this is the very sad one from the New Mexico Hamvention. They call it the Duke City Ham Fest. Apparently, and I didn't know this, Albuquerque is nicknamed Duke City because apparently there was some Spanish Duke who had one of the early land grants there, and so it's called Duke City. And you see the term Duke City everywhere you go. Duke City Restaurant, Duke City this, Duke City that. They call it the Duke City Ham Fest, but it is the Albuquerque Ham Fest, and it was canceled this year, and doggone, I was really looking forward to it. At the Duke City Ham Fest last year was the very first time I gave a presentation at a Ham Fest, and I actually gave 2 of them, and one was on SWR, and the other was sharing your knowledge on YouTube. The latter was not well attended, and kind of got me over the hump of being able to speak to a group. The thing about speaking to a group of people at a Hamfest is they can actually throw things at you. So I was a little scared from that. Yeah, I'm so sorry that was canceled. I was going to take my wife. We were going to stay at the RV station down there, and so on. Okay, so that takes care of that little group. Let's see. The only thing online at the ISS is the APRS. Now, they'll have that on all the time. But they do get on and they talk to people on the ground, usually scheduled in advance. And it takes a couple years for a school district to apply, go through the process, and they want the astronauts want to talk to school children. Once in a blue moon, an astronaut will have some free time and just pick up the radio and start chatting, because of course they get an instant pile up. But they're on to meter FM. And remember, the space shuttle is about 200 miles in the air. Well, 200 miles you can go horizontally. If you've got, say, two peaks that are 200 miles apart, you can talk just fine on 20, 30 watts, you know, if you've got directional antennas. So it is possible to talk to the space station doing that. So let's see, Dave, I'm somewhere you can book a full week of lessons at a reasonable price, middle of nowhere. Yeah, I will take the camper. There's a, I'm kind of leaning toward Carson City right now. I don't know, we'll see what it is. In the summertime, you run into heat problems. It's a little harder because of the high density altitude to get the plane off the ground. But that's what I plan to do, is go stay there till I actually leave with my sport pilot license. And I've got to go find an airplane. The pilot's exam was fine. There is a book. This is the book put out by a company called Gleim, where they have collected all known FAA exam questions, and with the answers. This was very helpful in studying. And of course, I've got a whole library of books over here. Pilot's Flying Handbook, Pilot's Handbook of Aeronautical Knowledge, Airplane Flying Handbook, Aviation Weather Services. Most of these are by the FAA. They have tremendous amounts of instructional material available. So Sean McGrath, a ham and an Augie and a patron, gave me ground school, which I very much appreciate. And so I am graduated from ground school, if you will. But of course I have much to learn. Okay, let's see. We're running a little short on time. They have a Kenwood D710GA that's not installed yet, but they're still doing school contacts from the Russian side. Quit watching the new clock so much. The new clock's actually over here. I do have a clock right on the computer. I could watch that. So many Pi hats at Micro Center to buy. Working on an NTP Stratum Zero clock now. Not just some of them. Most of them are actually hams. Okay. Passed Tech and made first satellite QSO. Congratulations. Okay. We're going to take one more question. I don't know why I keep looking at that clock. I'm used to looking at that clock. This is my great big wall clock up there. That is a mechanical clock, and I got it of all places. Are you ready for this? Harbor Freight Tools. It was in their catalog. I guess they got a bunch of them surplus, and so I bought this. It was like $70, something like that. It's a beautiful clock. It's been in that position on the wall for years and continues to run just fine. I think I did have to take it apart and clean it one time. You clean it with alcohol that you can get by the gallon down at Home Depot. It's denatured alcohol. In other words, they've added poison to it, so you can't just drink it. Alcohol is actually extremely inexpensive, but they make it expensive. The distilleries, don't get me started on that. I don't drink, so it doesn't really matter to me. Okay, and William Fogel sends along a super chat. Thank you. Shack Clock is now operational too. Okay, do I have a favorite stealth antenna? I should mention that the end-fed half-wave that I did as an inverted V, this is the My Antennas 80 through 10 end-fed half-wave, is a sort of a grayish dark wire, and is not something that you notice unless you're looking for it. And if you get the middle up fairly high, I've got it in inverted V configuration, And the reason I did that was because in the instructions, they talked about how all their testing was done in an inverted V configuration. And their inverted V configuration looked an awful lot like mine. So I did it, and the test results are great. Okay, if you can qualify as an astronaut, take tech test cold. Grandmother clock. We had one put together by a German guy who made it from bombed out clocks after World War II. Wow. Listening to the live stream when I'm drying, and I always think the turn signal is on because of the clock. Sorry about that. A great weekend, everyone. All right, Harbor Freight is great for bargain hunting. Okay, I think we're going to say 73 at this point. We've covered quite a few questions, and I've got a number that I folded back so that I will remember to do some follow-up action on that. Thank you so much. You know, this time with you guys and gals of all ages, from Reece all the way up to the oldest ham out there. And Reece, by the way, persevere with ham radio. It will do good things for you. I did a follow-up once on the hams that we worked with in the Boulder Amateur Radio Club Junior Division. I was one of the Elmers there working with young hams, and I did a 10-year follow-up study on them to see where are they now. And man, they were in engineering, programming, good jobs. One guy worked for, and still works for, I think, a game developer. People used this knowledge and did great things with it. So, and you get great social skills on the air, and it's just a good thing to do as a youth. So, let's see. Some great values. Let's see. Thank you, Dave. Are you familiar with the Lecoutre Atmos mantle clocks? No, I do not. That's interesting. Changing barometric pressure keeps them wound. That's interesting. Great hour. QTY is a bay surrounded by mountains. Oh, QTH. Any recommendations for how to get better reception? A J-pole. Well, J-pole's pretty good, actually. Okay, everybody. Okay, so I'm going to say 73s to everybody right now. We're a little bit over time. Thank you. I love you all. You Augies are great. Thank you for the chat revenue for help funding the channel. And I'm going to say 73 and see you next time.